Welcome to Getting Sketchy Live, brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. And now, let's get sketchy.
Hello there, everyone. Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com, and welcome to Gettin Sketchy Live, the greatest live broadcast in all of YouTube. I hope everybody's doing fantastic this evening as we're going into episode something of season 15. I think it's episode 7, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 7?
This is my fourth drawing. That's right, 7.
7. All right. So, episode 7, I guessed right. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing fantastic tonight. For those of you who don't know, Getting Sketchy is a live show where either myself or Ashley, we try to create a drawing for you inside of 45 minutes. And Ashley's doing the drawing tonight, so you guys are going to get to watch him sweat underneath the lights as he tries to complete a colored pencil drawing.
My hands are clammy. Right when you said that, I could feel them. They started to perspire. I'm nervous now.
Good. Just raises the bar of drama, which is what we want here. So if you are watching this live on YouTube, of course, there's a chat box. You can make comments and questions or post questions. If you do have a comment or question that's directed at Ashley or I, we ask that you use the super chat function. It does cost a little bit of money, but it does predominantly display your comment or question. And we do a little special something for you, and the proceeds do go to help this channel. So we would appreciate it if you do that. And if you're new to this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. And if you're watching the recorded version, of course, comment below. Hello to everyone from all over the world here entering the chat now. North Wales, UK, Florida, Texas, Australia, Ohio, Missouri, New York City, all over the world, guys. We're so thankful that you're spending the next hour with us as we try to entertain you and inform you. Ashley's doing the drawing tonight, and quickly breezed by him. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for asking. Hope you folks are ready to draw and draw along. The materials are not prohibitive tonight, so get out a tiny piece of paper, and we're going to make a miniature drawing together.
Now, Ashley's going to be working from a photo reference, and if you want a copy of that photo reference, you can head over to the YouTube channel. So to get there, just click on the icon of my face in the lower left-hand corner. That'll take you to the YouTube channel. Subscribe while you're there. And then click on the post tab, and the top post will be the photo reference for tonight's lesson with a link back to the video so you don't lose your place. Also, you're here because you love to make art, I assume. And if you want to go much, much deeper into your art creation, head over to thevirtualinstructor.com. There you'll find courses, classes, weekly live lessons, critiques, which are part of the Members Minute. There's also a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers that includes everything you need to teach. There are thousands and thousands of videos over there that we cover everything, every drawing medium, every painting medium that you can imagine, and every subject matter as well. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now to learn more about thevirtualinstructor.com, or you can look for the link in the description below that will take you over there as well. If you have not checked out the program that we offer over there, I would encourage you to do that. You're going to be absolutely blown away by what is offered over there. So check it out, virtualinstructor.com. All right, Ashley, are you ready? Oh, you got a 10 up.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about our color pencil set when we start and other materials. So I guess we'll go ahead and switch over and get into that.
All right. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready out there? Ashley's ready. Are you ready? You're ready. Let me know in the comments,
There's
I guess, in the chat box.
I know they're ready.
It doesn't matter if you're ready or not. We're switching over.
All right, there we go. So I did go ahead and write the size of our drawing. It's just 3 inches wide by 4 inches tall tonight. So you can trim and cut your paper if you need to. While I go over our materials, I do have, and I'm going to be using the 24 set of Prismacolor pencils, Prismacolor Premier pencils. And that's it. I had told Matt that I might use a little marker and then go over it with colored pencils. I was kind of debating on that, but decided just to go with colored pencils, and for that reason the drawing is kind of small because colored pencils require layering, so we'll be passing over all of our artwork on 2, 3, and in places maybe 4 times. So it's colored pencils is kind of a slow medium, but this is a fast-paced show, so we shrunk the art down a little bit just so I think we can make that happen in 45 minutes-ish amount of time. If you take a look at the reference, there's a color, kind of a color scheme there. It's very blue and red, and I would say that the inside of the apple is yellow. There's other colors in there. There's a little green, maybe some brown or blue in the shadows. Gray, for certainly there's gray in there, but I think the colors that dominate, even though the skin of the apple, it was complementary with green and red, because of the apple being, we'll say, open and such a strong blue in the background, I think that the primary colors kind of dominate. So I had dragged my feet a little bit this season getting into color. My first two drawings were all black and white. 2 weeks ago, I drew a fish that just had it was a black and white fish with weaker blues and greens in the fish and in the background. So jumping into color tonight, and we're going to do it with colored pencils. So,
and it's an organic subject, which is
two in a row.
Atypical for Ashley.
Two in a row. I did two metal objects, and I was like, I need to break out of the box. So I did a fish, and now we're doing my lunch from Tuesday, or at least a small piece of it.
Also, we have a super chat.
All
and
right.
Jan, I'm not going to forget it. I'm going to let Ashley finish talking about the materials, and then we'll read your comment. But thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Jan. We appreciate the early support and encouragement. So I went ahead and pulled out the pencils that I plan to use or believe that I see in the image that I'll need to use. And I do have a blender. So this one that looks like a natural color is a blender. And, if we were going to do this drawing large, I might try to forego the blender. But because it's small, the tooth of the paper will be more apparent, just due to scale. So I think we'll use the blender off and on to smooth out the application and get more of the tooth covered with the material that we've put down. I also have a white, and you can use the white in a lot of instances, like I'm going to use the blender. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use the white. But you can use the white sometimes to burnish light areas. So we may do that in the inside pulp of the apple. There's definitely pink in the skin of the apple. This is a cool red. I believe it's called, oh my gosh, got to put my reading glasses on for this.
He's going to put them on for all of us.
This one is the crimson. No. Good gracious, it's a cool red. That is small writing. And this one is Rogue Tuscan. It's kind of a brown reddish.
It's Tuscan red.
Tuscan.
You're reading, yeah.
There it is. Tuscan red. Oh, that's why I couldn't read this one. It's Crimson Lake.
Yeah.
It's Crimson Lake. I was looking at the wrong language. Very good. And then I have a Crayola pencil. And so it's kind of the oddball. Actually, I have two Crayola pencils in the set. But I need them. I need these colors. So there is a similar color. I think it's the Spanish orange. That is a Prismacolor pencil. This one here is just a little duller, and in my estimation, a little bit greener. And it's I believe it's called Harvest Gold. So that's a Crayola pencil. And then apple green, which is just a warm green. We need a warm green. I'm not too thrilled with my blue. It's True Blue by Prismacolor. The blue in the background feels a lot more like an ultramarine blue to me. So our blue won't necessarily match in color, but it'll at least match in hue and not really disturb our color scheme. This is a violet. I don't know how I get that out of there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's violet blue. I need that. All right, so we do have a violet blue in here. I have a gray, which is, again, a Crayola pencil. We do have one of my favorite colors, the indigo blue. One of my favorite colors that Prismacolor even makes, and a lot of times I use that instead of black, or I use it with a brown instead of black. But I do still have a black in here if we feel like we need that. And like I said, it's just going to be a small drawing. So at the very end, if we lose our edges a little bit between the apple and the background, we may go back in with one of these two and just put a few little dark accents in, kind of like a broken outline. But that may or may not be necessary. We'll see how things transpire in the next 45 minutes. Besides the colored pencils, I'm going to start with just a regular HB drawing pencil. So it's the same pencil weight as a number 2 pencil. If you have a yellow number 2 pencil, you can use that. And I've got a couple of erasers, a kneaded eraser for lightening my drawing after I make it in pencil, the line drawing, and then a black Factus eraser for fixing mistakes. And I don't think I'm going to need it, but just in case, I do have an electric eraser in case we need to really dig out some areas of colored pencil. Colored pencil doesn't erase well, but it does erase in case we need to get back to an edge, and we can redefine that. and fill it back in using a pencil and the electric eraser. All right, Matt.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right. And as I mentioned before, Jan gave us a super chat.
Yes.
So we really appreciate that, Jan. And his comment is, always great to watch you sweat, making an increasingly masterful drawing, smiley face emoji. So thank you so much there, Jan.
All right, thank you, Jan.
And Buddy is saying a black what eraser? Never have seen it.
Factus. So that's just the name of this eraser. It says black 18. It has a barcode on it. Makes it real serious.
I think that's just a rubber eraser.
Yeah, it's just a black rubber eraser.
Yeah, so you can think of like a pink pearl eraser.
Yeah, it's a little softer than a pink pearl and supposedly leaves less shavings than a pink pearl. I've always liked these black erasers. That may just be a marketing gimmick, but they used to say that they leave less eraser shavings, but they still leave shavings nonetheless.
Azazel Spawn, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, are there differences in the black eraser and the white eraser other than the color? Yeah, most of the white erasers you see are actually vinyl or plastic erasers. Right. Those are the strongest erasers out there. And
that's what's in here.
Yeah, that is a vinyl or plastic eraser. And the reason why I say vinyl or plastic is because those are two different names for the same type of eraser. A vinyl eraser is the same as a plastic eraser, although not many people call them plastic erasers, but...
No. Or they're vinyl, not nylon, right? Vinyl?
Vinyl,
okay.
Yeah, vinyl.
All right, very good. Any more questions about materials before we start our drawing?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see that I've got some marks already on my tape where the halfway points would be. And just to help you get started, where the skin of the apple comes down and meets the pulp of the apple, that's about halfway. So that's what this mark is for. I've already used my pencil tip and my thumb in front of my reference and tried to measure about where a few points fall into picture plane. And so that's something that I'm going to be looking at. In fact, I'm going to just double measure that like carpenters, right? Measure twice, draw once. And maybe it's a little bit more than halfway down. So that's something I'm going to be looking at when I start. All right, I guess that's it. Guess we should start.
All right, you ready for the timer?
All right, I'm ready.
Here we go.
Bring it up.
45 minutes on the clock.
And here we go. All right, so I said that we're going to come down to it maybe just a little bit below halfway for the skin of the apple. And then I think the top of the apple is about a quarter of the way down from the picture plane. So again, I'm using these marks here, and guesstimating about halfway up from there to get started. All right, and we're going to begin with this shape, the top of our apple. I'll also be taking into consideration how far I am from the edges of the picture plane in relation to the center. And this looks like about where our apple is going to make its turn. And we're going to start coming down with a slightly concave line. And if we can get this shape about the right size, then that should help all the other parts fall into place. All right, now on the other side, we get a little bit closer to the edge of our picture plane. So this will give me something to aim at, a target. And it is an organic subject matter, so its humps and bumps are going to be kind of irregular.
I'm studying Ashley's bite pattern in the apple.
I feel a little exposed.
You can see on the right side the multiple bites.
Now, normally I don't leave an apple with this much meat on it, but for the drawing.
Did you eat any more of it after you photographed it? You did. You just laid it down there and photographed it. And
I have a childhood friend that who, when he would eat an apple, he ate the whole thing. Stem, seeds, whatever was inside.
Okay, it's one of two people, and I'm just going to use their first name, Jamie or Robin.
That's right. It's the second one. You got it. He eats the whole thing.
How did I know that?
Ain't that funny?
I could see Jamie doing that too.
Yeah.
Do you know which Jamie I'm talking about? Last name also starts with a J.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. Just don't let it go to waste, right? All right. Now we'll work our way down, and we're going to get closer to the bottom than the top by about halfway. Thinking of this space, maybe divide it in half, and that's about how much room we're going to leave at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and start down here a little bit and throw in a curve and try to kind of meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. The curve gets pretty vertical out here. And there's a little point out here that is just to the outside of this one. So I'll drop down from there, and that'll give me something to aim at. And we lose it a little bit in the shadow. The value gets really close to the background around here. There we go.
Keith says that he's heard that apple seeds have cyanide in them. That would explain a lot.
Yeah. I think I need to come out a little further over here. Well, that sounds like there should be a warning label on these apples.
Should they put a warning label on apples?
Cyanide. That sounds serious.
I wonder if that's true.
We'll go a little higher.
Yeah,
here.
Buddy is agreeing and says it's true for other seeds too. Just don't eat too many of them.
Okay, well, I don't eat the seeds, so I guess I'm safe.
What about sunflower seeds?
I eat seed bread. You ever eat seed bread?
I don't know what seed bread is.
It's really good. It's supposed to be healthy, but it tastes too good to be healthy. And it's kind of covered in seeds, even on the inside. The pieces are kind of thin, and but it's a dense bread. All right, this looks pretty okay. So we'll go ahead and start on breaking our shapes up a little bit. So we do have sort of maybe a little higher than the center here from where our skin starts. The bump that goes uphill towards the right.
Okay, so AI says that 1 gram of apple seeds contains about 0.6 milligrams of cyanide. But the lethal dose of cyanide starts at over 50 milligrams.
And how much does it contain? Tell me that again.
0.6 milligrams. So you would have to eat nearly 100 apple seeds in one sitting to start putting yourself at risk.
Okay.
I don't think that's AI. I think that's AI taken from another website.
We don't need a warning label. Feel safe again. All right, now I think it's going to be advantageous to us to go ahead and draw where the light meets the shadow in some of these places. And Matt pointed out this is an organic subject, so we've got some flexibility here.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an exact match. Just has to be an approximation.
That's right. And there's an edge over here where some gray meets some yellow, stronger yellow. So I'll put that in. Might be nice to slightly define that. And then we've got a really dark shape that is just in a shadow. It doesn't necessarily follow the contour of a bite pattern per se, but we'll find that. Maybe that little guy. All right. Looks okay. Got some thick lines in places where I was, especially the first lines, the top and bottom, where I was just kind of feeling my way through space a little bit. So I'm going to clean those up, thin them out, and then we'll lighten our drawing and, got a little bit of plastic eraser stuck on there. Okay, and we're going to lighten our drawing some with a kneaded eraser. The graphite will mix with the colored pencils and darken them, where we maybe don't want that to happen so much. There we go.
Ashley, Buddy wants to know how many apples did you get for a perfect bite pattern for this reference?
Oh, this is the, I'll tell you what I was doing, Matt. I was eating this apple 45 minutes into looking on Pixabay for an image. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this apple.
Yeah.
And grabbed a blue piece of paper, propped it up with a couple of boxes that had clay sculptures in them, and for a sweep, and took a picture.
I don't think, we talk about this every once in a while, but many times it takes longer for us to find the reference photos than it does for us to actually create the drawing.
Yeah, it's true. Twice as long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to start with the pink, which is a pretty light color. We can always get darker and put darker colors on top of our lighter color. So we're going to start with a light color. I'm going to start right in this area where it's pretty pink. And at first, we won't pay too much attention to where the shadows are and just get this pattern of color onto our apple. Then we can go over it, maybe with a brown or the indigo blue, which is a great choice, and better define the shadows.
All right. Cindy is asking if you mentioned what type of paper you're working on.
This is 80-pound white sulfite drawing paper.
All right. So there you go. Just regular drawing paper.
Very much like what comes in a drawing book.
Charles is asking, what criteria do you use to choose a photo reference?
One thing that I look for is, it's not always composition, because Matt and I both will crop images that we find that we like, but a lot of times it's the values and colors. I look for contrast. And this apple has it. Some really light areas and really dark areas. And the background, you'll notice, is darker than the light side of the apple and lighter than the dark side of the apple. So again, I was looking for contrast when I took this photo, or when I look for references in general.
For me, it depends on the medium that I'm wanting to use, the size of the piece that I'm wanting to create. All those are obvious factors.
Yeah, if you've got your medium already picked out, some images really lend themselves to that. They look like they would be a better pastel than a pen and ink drawing, and that can definitely play into the decision making.
And for this show specifically, I try to pick reference photos that I feel like I can be somewhat successful within 45 minutes. So we do consider the time constraint for this show.
That's why there's one apple instead of 3 or 4, right? Although sometimes we bite off more than we can chew.
Right. And another reason why your drawing is so small.
That's right.
And you're limiting your colors to a certain degree, too.
Right.
So,
I've only got about 8 colors picked out.
Right.
We'll get as close as we can with these limitations.
So there's a lot of variables that go into choosing a reference photo. There's not like a specific process that's consistent for every piece of art. And sometimes I'll find photo references within photo references. So you might have a really large image with lots of subjects in it. And then when you zoom in and crop things, you find more interesting compositions. And sometimes I'll piece images together to create a composition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, yeah, that's right. You've done that a few times. Really like working like an illustrator. All right, so this is our cool red Crimson Lake, and eventually it's going to get really dark back here. Right now, like I said, we're just laying in the pattern. Don't need to be afraid of the dark in these areas.
So it looks like Ashley's using kind of a moderate amount of pressure here in the early stages. So not too heavy, not too light either, somewhere in the middle. And it also looks like he's considering the directional strokes that he's making sure that they flow over the form of the apple.
Yeah, and we can see that in places, especially in the back of the apple. The variegation of the colors actually show us the contour line or direction of strokes that we want to use. So lots of information in here to glean from our apple itself. There's a little light edge on this ridge, picking up the light. We may lose that, then try to get it back with our electric eraser late in the drawing. It'd be hard to hang on to that. The pencil line is really occupying that space.
All right, Keith is asking, do you ever use drafting film for colored pencil drawing? And I'm not sure if Ashley has, but I have.
You mean like what you did your spider on?
Yeah.
Did I give you that piece of paper?
No.
Okay, because I had a bunch of it in my classroom, and I thought I was going to bring you some. Then I think I used it all up.
No, I have a pad of it.
Okay.
Mylar.
Yeah.
Mylar
that's
paper.
A great surface for colored pencils.
It is a good surface for colored pencils, but Keith, I don't know if you remember or not, but I do have a course on drawing with colored pencils on drafting film or Mylar paper. And in that course, I cover the positives and negatives for using that paper. The major positive for using that paper is you can erase colored pencils very easily from the surface, which on regular drawing paper, colored pencils are nearly impossible to erase. You can erase them to a certain degree, but you can't actually remove everything completely. But on the Mylar surface, you can. So especially if you're using an electric eraser, you can put down fields of color, and then if you have light areas, like if you have white hairs or things like that, you can just go back in with an eraser and erase those areas out, which is really helpful. The drawback, and this is also a major drawback for working with the drafting film or Mylar, and that is that there's not much tooth on the paper. So colored pencils rely, success with colored pencils is reliant on layering the colored pencils. So if you're limited in the amount of layers you can apply to the surface, that limits what you can do in your colored pencil drawing. So you have to really think about the colors that you're using and try to match colors by choosing pencils that match colors a little bit more so than you would if you were layering colors like Ashley's doing. You can see he's putting that vibrant blue in now over the top.
It's that blue violet.
That's going to have to be layered in and mixed in in order to make it look more realistic. If you were working on the Mylar film, you would have maybe 2 or 3 at max more layers you could put on the top. So you have to really consider the colors that you're applying to the surface. So Mylar is not a perfect surface, but it has its benefits, the big one being able to erase, but it also has its drawbacks, meaning that you're limited in the number of layers of colored pencil applications you can make. So I don't use Mylar film that often for colored pencil drawings, but it is a surface that has unique characteristics that can be exploited. Sandra asked, would you consider doing a demo using watercolor pencils? I'm assuming you're talking about for Gettin Sketchy, because there are lots of lessons and courses and classes using watercolor pencils over on the website at thevirtualinstructor.com. So you might want to go over there and check some of those out. But yeah, I think I've used watercolor markers on Gettin Sketchy before, and I do think I may have used some watercolor pencils. But I do like watercolor pencils. They're a unique medium to work with if you know how to use them. I guess, I mean, that's probably true for every medium, but yeah, we'll consider that for Gettin Sketchy. Watercolor pencils rely on layering the color and then activating the material on the surface with water. So you apply the watercolor pencils to the surface, you can layer them like colored pencils, then you activate them by layering water over the top. It's not a bad idea, actually, because I haven't considered what medium I'm going to use for my next Gettin Sketchy episode, which I'll remind you all of this next week, or no, next week, but at the end of tonight's show, that next week we will not have a live broadcast. So that's because we have Thanksgiving here in the United States. Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, but I will be out of town actually on Wednesday of next week because of Thanksgiving. And unfortunately, it's not something I can get out of. And that's a big unfortunately.
Can't get out of it.
It's really more of a mode of survival that I'll be dealing with next week. So I would much rather be here broadcasting with you guys, but I will be away. So, and Keith has given us a super chat, and his comment is, thanks for the info on Mylar film. Thank you, Keith. We really appreciate that. And Charles said, I'd love to see a watercolor pencil on Getting Sketchy. Well, that might be something that I do in the remaining episodes that I have. If this is episode 7, then I have...
You get 2 more.
I have 2 more. Yeah, I think I make that work.
Blue in the bottom and green so far.
In the meantime, if you are a member, I think the most recent series I did with watercolor pencils is the Green Bird, but I'm going to check the site here real quick.
I do want to work in the pulp and then get into the background before we get to the last 4 minutes, so then I can go back into the apple. That's my hope. That's my plan. Let's see. I do have a little bit. It's not sharpened. This Spanish orange that I mentioned we might use, and I'm going to go ahead and layer a little bit of it into the front of our apple over the pink, just to warm it up some in there. I think that's probably good.
Okay, looking at the website here, we cover watercolor pencils in the colored pencil course, the watercolor workshop. There is a class series, orangutan with watercolor pencils. So that wasn't the last one I did. That was the last series. Then the Green Bird with watercolor pencils. And as far as classes and courses, oh, never mind. There's another class, flower sketch with watercolor pencils.
Quite a few.
And then there's strawberries with ink tints pencils, which ink tints pencils aren't technically watercolor pencils, but they behave the same way. Then there's a landscape drawing with watercolor pencils. So that's just under courses and classes. That doesn't include all the free videos too. So there's quite a lot of content on watercolor pencils, but I may still do it for Getting Sketchy. Feeling the pressure, guys. Feeling the pressure.
Peer pressure.
And Orion Nebula is saying, was it the monkey on the fence post watercolor pencil too? Yeah, that's the orangutan with watercolor pencils.
Orangutan.
Yeah, we're mispronouncing it, right? It's
Yeah,
orangutan.
We had weeks to practice.
Orangutan.
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 I guess.
We don't know what we're talking about here. When it comes to the subjects that we draw and paint, we have no clue what we're talking about.
I'm not even sure if this is an apple.
We think it's an apple, but you never know.
So my mom told me.
Your mom told you that she doesn't think it's an apple?
This is an apple. This is what apples looks like.
Oh,
my brother said he had a professor who would teach his son. I might have told you this. The wrong names of things when he was like a baby. He thought it was funny.
Sounds like a great father.
Right. He would call apples bananas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just messing. He must have been a psychology professor. He was messing with his mind.
Well, I
don't know.
There's a educational philosophy called incorrect learning. And that is, if you learn something incorrectly the first time that you learn it, then it is very hard to learn the correct version. And I think that is very true because I learned,
I agree.
that little thing, I before E, except after C?
Except I before E except after C, and words something way like
Yeah, there's
something
more
like,
to
like
it.
neighbor and way.
Right. There's more to it.
Right.
Well, I
can
only
learn the whole
learned I before E except after C.
And stop there.
That's not the whole truth.
No, the rest of it is I before E except after C, and words that something like neighbor and way.
Right. So there are words.
But clearly I've forgotten the rest of it as well. So
Well, think of the word. How do you spell receive? So
don't do this to me.
Anyway, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've struggled with this my whole life because I learned that incorrectly.
Yeah. Well, and when you learn someone's name wrong, it's wrong. For at least for me, I have the hardest time correcting myself.
Right.
I'll have to repeat their name to myself, like in the car when I'm on my way to meet them, because I know it's going to come out wrong because I learned it wrong the first time.
Well, see,
it's worse than calling somebody.
I before E except after C. Well, the word there, for example, the possessive word there,
right.
that's THEIR. That's not I before E.
Okay, that's right. Just forget that rule. It's not worth its salt. Okay, so we've got the indigo blue now, building up our shadow and our apple some, and looks like I'm halfway through my time limit, so I have to pick it up a little bit. We found most of our shapes in here. It's just a matter of getting dark enough now, building up our values.
All right, buddy's asking Ashley, why don't you use violet as a shadow for the inner part of the apple? Is that just due to reducing your color scheme?
Yeah,
or limiting your color palette?
This indigo blue is so dull. It's so neutral anyway, and the violet is bright, and even the blue violet that I used up in here is kind of bright. So this indigo, I don't know if that's a good word for it, because some people think of indigo as blue violet, but to me it feels more like a navy blue. I would describe it like that.
Okay, Edie has added for us I before E except after C when sounding like A, as in neighbor and way.
That's it. Sounding like A.
But there doesn't sound like neighbor or way.
No, it doesn't.
And the E comes before the I.
Yeah.
Jan says I before E except when it isn't. Yeah, that's the rule.
I'll put just a little bit of brown in here. So we used what I would call navy blue. It's called indigo blue. Then also some brown to warm it back up. Keep checking the reference. Keep checking the reference. Answers are in the reference. And oh boy, I got a fistful of pencils. If I use them, I hang on to them. I'm gonna grab our gray again. We've used it a little bit already. We are gonna burnish this some, and I might need to do that soon because everything's gonna get darker when we do that. And I'm not sure by how much, but that'll help us in our background, which I would like to start soon so we can come back to the apple after seeing what the background does to it, since it's all kind of relative.
All right, interesting enough, Thomas Clancy says English is a beautiful language.
Can't argue with that.
Not with Thomas Clancy, you can't. And then Keith says...
So descriptive.
Well, Tom Clancy wrote those novels.
Yeah.
Right? Keith says, this is not an apple thing sounds like the Magritte drawing. This is not a pipe. Talking about your mom.
Yeah, that's right. I love Magritte.
And, the reason why you're thinking of that, Keith, is probably because you're thinking about the season that we did artworks in the style of artists.
Yeah.
And I actually did an apple and wrote underneath it, this is not an apple.
That's right. That's right. Life imitates art, imitates life.
And I think I used markers and colored pencils for that, actually.
I remember that.
That was an apple we forgot about.
Yeah, I was asking Matt when he had drawn apples because I couldn't remember if he had done an apple core already. What is this, season 15 now?
Yeah.
It all starts running together, and we have had subjects that are similar between the two of us. It's starting to happen. It's like, yeah, I feel like...
Yeah, I did that black and white cat last week.
Yeah, and I had done one. You worked on black paper with white pencil, and I had done one gray cat on black paper, but I did use gray pastel, so it wasn't exactly the same. And it was a different cat.
I have done a ton of apples. Lots of different mediums, not just for Gettin Sketchy.
Yeah, it's a cliche for teachers, too, so...
Teresa said, I watched that Apple episode yesterday. How ironic. And Melody is asking, Ashley, are you blending now?
Yes, yeah, this is the blender, the colorless blender, and I'm using it to see how dark these mixtures are going to become, and that'll help us, I think, make some decisions in our background. You're going to see these grays that I put in earlier get quite a bit darker with the burnishing as well. So most of the apple has layered colors on it, but the really light areas of yellow and gray right now, they don't so much. And because I want to see just how dark they're going to get. And then, of course, there's really very little white in here, if at all. So we'll probably glaze over these white areas with some green and yellow, but maybe not burnish them, just so the white of the paper can help them stay light. And of course, when you're burnishing, you've got options in your pressure that you don't have to just bear down the same pressure all the time, just like when we use our regular colored pencils. We've got pressure changes can be important in managing your value, at least for me. It's amazing how much darker everything gets to me, just by not adding any more colored material, just reducing the exposed white.
Okay, Jan has given us an interesting history lesson. He says some English spelling chaos was caused by Dutch book printers who didn't have enough movable types for typical English spelling, but Latin. So they used C for K and lots of other weird choices.
I have never heard that. That is interesting. And then those types of spelling stuck. People read them and they were like, well, it's written down.
Well, if they
it's in the newspaper, it must be right.
If they stuck, then they had enough C's and K's to spell out the word stuck. And he adds that the Dutch printers also added H to ghost, the word ghost, because that is how it is in Flemish.
That's fascinating.
Well, I think if it's G-O-S-T, it would be Ghost. Ghost.
Ghostly. Now, ghastly is, that has an H in it too,
yeah,
right?
that's G-H-A. And ghastly, yeah.
Okay, let's work in our background some. We've got 14 minutes. I'm going to do the background and still have a few minutes to come back into our apple. So I do have our true blue, and it is a different blue, by the way. I think I mentioned that already than what we see. I'm going to go ahead and begin with our indigo blue, which is what I think of as navy blue. It's kind of dull. And put some of the shadow area down where the shadow is going to be. And then we'll mix into and over that with our true blue, which will dominate our background. There's a gradation in the background that's lightest through here and a little darker at the top and bottom, and we should be able to make that happen.
Thomas Clancy says, for the longest time, all I drew and painted were pears. Don't know why, but I love the shape and color of pears. That would be a nice demonstration. Yeah. And I've done a ton of pears, too.
Yeah, they are great shape.
Just a ton of pears.
They're shaped much better than they taste.
I like pears.
Oh, gosh, it's like eating sand.
The thing about pears is they have, such a broad range of different colors they can come in.
Yeah.
For the watercolor workshop, I did pairs that had red in them, but were mostly yellow-green. Those were some cool
There's
pairs.
a local artist in our area that only, and if he's still around, this is when it could be 15 years ago, that only drew pairs in pastel, and they were absolutely beautiful. They were really nice. I don't know if that rings a bell to you.
I'm pretty sure I've done a pair for Gettin Sketchy.
Very golden looking.
Probably a couple pairs. A pair of pairs. Okay. CQ Padavani says, so the paper is fixed on the table with tape. When you remove the tape, does it not damage the paper?
Not much.
Well, it's all in how you place the tape down and how you remove it.
You might be able to see my tape looks speckly. That's the lint from my pants. I'm wearing sweatpants, and I taped my pants to reduce the adhesive quality of the tape.
And I kind of get tired of saying this, but I like the fact that I can. I have a video on how to remove the tape so it doesn't tear your paper on YouTube. But really, it is, like Ashley said, before you put the tape down, we tape our clothing. And that puts a little bit of a barrier between the adhesive and the surface. So the tape is still adhesive enough to stick to the surface, but it's easier to remove when you're finished. Now, the second secret is when you're removing the tape, a lot of people will pull the tape in the direction that it has been applied. So a lot of people, if they're removing the tape and it's the vertical side of the tape, they'll pull up or they'll pull down. Instead, you want to pull at a 90-degree angle away from the artwork. So if you're pulling the tape, let's say we want to pull the piece off that's on the left side of Ashley's artwork that goes vertically, you'll want to pull the tape at a 90-degree angle away to the left. That way, if the paper does tear, because sometimes it does tear, it won't tear the artwork. So it will not destroy the artwork. It just might pull up a little bit of the top layer of the paper on that side outside of the framing of the artwork. And Lisa says, I have a pair from a lesson on my wall, soft pastels. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. I'm glad that
wonderful shapes.
I'm glad you have that on your wall, Lisa.
All right, let's go to town on our background with the blender. Wow, look at that. Look how intense that is.
Thomas Clancy says, I'm a pastel fan. Would a pastel demonstration be possible? Yes, of course. We've done a lot of pastel drawings.
We do, and we do one or two probably every season.
Every season. And I did. The first drawing of the season for me was a bird with pastel. Yep. And if you haven't seen the collection of videos that we have over at thevirtualinstructor.com, Thomas, you'll be blown away. Go to thevirtualinstructor.com, go under the Explore tab in the main menu and click on Pastels. And then you'll see all the pastel lessons that we have there. And if you're a pastel fan, you will find hundreds of pastel videos over there.
Hundreds. It's one of your favorite media
it is.
To work and teach in. All right, so you can see it's more like a cerulean blue, like a sky blue, and we may still darken this blue now that I can see just what the blender is going to do to it. We can still get a little more tooth out of this paper if we need to in the background, but eventually I wanted to jump back here to see what my apple looks like up against it and respond to that. Now I use horizontal strokes to lay down the pastel in the background. There's two colors back here. I use the indigo blue and the true blue. I'm using vertical strokes, which, pushes all those strokes together. There's something under my paper right there. I'm getting a dark spot, so you have to excuse that. Looks like it's something on the board. But Sometimes I like to use the blender with the same direction that same direction strokes that I applied the colored pencil with. That's what I've done in here. I drag the blender in the same sort of cross contour fashion to show the form, but I'm going opposite of the strokes in the background just to get a pretty flat mix. It was a little bit of indigo at the top, so that it's a bit darker as we work our way up. All right. Now we can check out our contrast.
Thomas says, I used to be a subscriber to the virtual instructor, but now I'm poor. But I'm definitely going to be resubscribed. Well, the good news is, Thomas, is you can be poor and still be a member of the website. We've made it that way. But yeah, that I'm laughing not out of spite. I'm laughing because I think we can all relate with that comment.
Praising of your comment.
It's hard not to be poor in today's age, isn't
I tell
it?
you what, yeah. Everything costs more.
Okay, Keith says, I know that you've done a course and some lessons in oil pastel, but have you used it for Gettin Sketchy? Yeah, we've used oil pastels before. Your cat was oil pastels.
I may use them. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a cellophane balloon for my last drawing, and I've kicked around what media it would look good in, and I have thought about oil pastels, but I'm starting to lean away from it. But I love oil pastels because I like to paint, and oil pastels is pretty much just painting with sticks.
Buddy asked, Ashley, is it due to wax-based pencils that you can blend at this stage of layering? Usually I would use the blender very late in the drawing.
Well, we are late in the drawing. There's only 5 minutes left to go, buddy. So, yeah, I mean, ordinarily I might wait longer. Now, you can use the blender a little bit and then still go back in with colored pencils over it if you've saved some tooth. But I'm going ahead and really hitting the background hard now with the blender. I decided to go ahead and do that. I felt like I don't need to add any more color to it. We'll keep it kind of the way it is. It's going to be a little bit lighter blue. And now I've got 5 minutes left to get back into our apple.
Oh, yeah. Ashley did the scissors in oil pastel. Jan
That's right. Was that last season or the one before? I love that drawing. It looks really cool. And,
but the Lego Man was also oil pastel.
Yes. Yeah, wait, was it? Yeah, that was, oh man, the Lego Man. That's one of my favorites ever from Gettin Sketchy. He's so ominous. Yeah, love the Lego Man. All right. I do lose the edge right back here. It's almost the same as the background, so I'm fine with that. Makes it pretty dark. I did put some yellows. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I had a dirty blender. Look at that.
Okay, Cindy says, I tried the cat on black paper last week with white charcoal, but I think the paper was too cheap. It really does not look nice because of that. Cindy, I wonder what paper you were using. If you can share the brand name, maybe I can help you out with that. I used Artigan paper by Strathmore. It's black paper, obviously. Yeah, the surface that you work on can and does have a big influence on your success. Yeah. Jan points out the scissors were on January 9th of this year, so that was last season. Yeah. The Welder Man was soft pastels, right?
Mm-hmm. It was soft pastel. Sorry, I had pencils in my mouth.
The coffee cup and napkin was also oil pastel.
That's right. Yeah. I was on a table with cracks on it. So for a while, I felt like I did an oil pastel almost every season. Maybe I've moved away from that recently. All right, just increase our shadows. Pretty much just increase our shadows now. The time that we have left, maybe try to sharpen a couple edges. There's a little bit of reflected light I want to try to grab. Oh gosh. run out of space in my hand to hold on to all my pencils. A little bit of burnishing, not too much pressure in the lighter areas. Not as much. A little bit more gray. And okay. I'm going to put all my pencils back. When they start hitting the floor, and look for my dark red, maybe violet, probably a pink. Okay.
Okay, Cindy says, Matt, I use Canson black drawing paper, 92 pounds. Is it just Canson black drawing paper, or is it Mitance paper, or is it Colorline paper? Canson has several different types of colored paper.
Sorry, the pencil.
Okay,
It was on the floor.
Yeah, I can relate.
I'm
with
back.
Dropping stuff.
Yeah.
CQ Padovani says, what do you do with these works? Do you frame them, sell them, keep them?
Last season, we set up an auction
Yeah.
for the first time ever.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, last season we set up an auction to help a local charity here. So we auctioned off the artworks. Most of them sold. And then those proceeds went to that local charity that works with mentally handicapped adults in our area. Then the rest of them, we just put them in a drawer.
Yeah, that's where they live.
I'm not sure if we're going to do the charity auction this season or not. We may, but the cost of shipping the artworks.
It was a learning experience.
It was a
for
learning
us.
experience. I guess because everything's so expensive now, the cost of shipping the artworks was a lot. So that cut into what we were able to contribute to the charity. But I guess
time's up.
we were able to donate $500 to the charity after all the proceeds and everything had been paid and all of the fees for the auction house and all that stuff. So
that was great to do.
That was great to do, and we may do the same thing. We'll see. But we've got a few more weeks before the end of the season, so I'm still considering it. But I think that you guys do like the people who did purchase the artworks and bid on them. I think that they enjoyed receiving the original artworks in the mail.
Yeah,
so I'd like to do it again. It's just we start the bidding for the artworks fairly low, and I just want to make sure that our time and efforts are worth it.
I know time's up.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a suggestion.
Just a little bit more brown in here in places. And
I don't think I have ever framed, and I take that back. There is one Gettin Sketchy episode that I do have framed and matted and on a wall.
All right.
And it's at the beach. It was the pastel landscape I did of the dunes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that one?
I do. That was nice. And you took that picture.
I took that
at the
picture,
beach,
yeah.
So that seems really appropriate.
I wish I could tell you what season it's from, but I think that is the only Getting Sketchy drawing that I've actually framed and put on the wall.
Keep using this eraser in here and kind of regretting it because it's leaving horrible shavings on the apple.
And Buddy,
Good gracious.
I see Buddy's making a comment here saying Germany is very poor in shipping this year. You did receive your artwork. Have you received it yet?
I hope so.
So, you may have told me you received it. I'm not real sure, but you should have received it by now for sure. Buddy is in Germany. We're in the United States. It was okay. Oh no, she still hasn't responded. Jan says, Matt, yes, that was a great drawing, but I think lots of these drawings deserve a wall. Oh, Buddy still hasn't received the artwork yet. Oh my gosh. They told me it would be there in 6 days from when I sent it. So keep me posted, Buddy. If you don't receive the artwork, just let me know about that, okay? I'll take care of you. Oh, that's frustrating and anger-inducing.
I wonder where it's ended up. Okay.
First of all, to give you guys backstory, the bid for the artwork, the bid that Buddy got the artwork for was around $100.
Mm-hmm.
And the first place I took the artwork to ship to Germany, it was going to be $238 to ship.
And it's small,
It's tiny. It's tiny drawing.
I know we live in the age of free shipping with Amazon, but not international.
So I waited around a little while, and then I went to a different shipping company, and they told me it's going to be far less than that, and that it would be there in 6 days. And that was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago that I sent it. So,
yeah.
So if we do, now listen, this is going to anger some people, but if we do a, I said do. If we do, if we do a auction this season, we're probably going to limit it to just addresses in the United States
because the shipping is
because of tariff issues and the shipping and all that kind of stuff. So, Keith says, I once tried to buy some art materials from Blick. The cost of the materials was $200 and the shipping was $400 plus.
Yeah, that's what's the point?
Okay, Cindy is, maybe I'll try the textured side. Cindy says, maybe I'll try the textured side. She's talking about the black paper, although it is lightly textured. Sounds like you might be working with Can't Send Me Taunts paper. If you have two distinct sides of the paper. I would, the reason why, part of the reason why that drawing worked last week is because of the smoothness of the Artigan paper, which allows blending it allows it to be very easily blended, the white charcoal, and also erased. So, Cindy, I would actually go get some Artigan paper and try it. The Artigan paper is not very expensive. And you can find it, you should be able to find it at your local art store, although a lot of art stores have gone to just selling their brand only, which is also really annoying. Orion Nebula points out that the Sunset Beach landscape was 3 years ago. Pastels.
3 years.
Yeah. And it was, what's interesting is where that photo was taken is actually Ocean Isle Beach, which is right next to Sunset Beach. So a beach called Sunset Beach. So Orion Nebula saying Sunset Beach. My immediate impulse was like, no, that's not Sunset Beach. That's Ocean Isle.
Yeah.
But it is a sunset.
A beach
at
with
the beach.
Sunset.
But it's looking into the dunes, not into the water. But he says, Ashley, the apple is perfect. Do you know that? Really great.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. I could just keep on keeping on. And I have been, by the way, using some white pencil in here to weaken and lighten some of the colors. You could do that with the Prismacolors because they're just so soft. All right, should we peel the tape off? talked about doing a little demo with.
Yeah, Melody definitely wants you to take the
let's
tape
peel
off.
the tape off.
And Cindy says the blending is awful. Again, talking about the black paper, that is the problem. I will do that, Matt. Yeah, it sounds like you were using Mitance paper. Sounds like it. If there's two distinct sides, probably Mitance paper. And that paper is better suited for pastels. And you can also use colored pencils, but if you use colored pencils with that paper, you really should use the smoother side of the paper. Okay, so you see Ashley's pulling it away at a 90-degree angle.
You can see the sweatpants lint on there.
Yep.
Yeah, pulling it flat against the table and at a 90-degree angle.
Away from the artwork. And let me tell you guys, that tape he's pulling off, that adhesive is strong.
I know. It's an old roll, and it just gets stronger and stronger.
Yes, I've had that roll of tape for probably 4 years. So I got like 6 rolls of tape.
Roll would be good,
and
for you guys.
That's the last roll, so I've had it for a really long time.
Some things get weaker over time, like the color in pictures fade, and medicine loses its strength over time, but tape just gets strong. There we go. Now, I don't know if you can see that. I did get some paper here. All right. But because I'm pulling away, any tearage is away from the artwork. It won't tear into the artwork. And I know we've all had that happen before. So that little bit of tearing, not a big deal. It's just the top fiber layers of the paper, and it's away from the paper. All right, there we go. So there's our colored pencil apple, kind of dominated by, in my opinion, the primary colors, although there's quite a bit of green in there as well. There we go. Get it back into focus. So thank you guys for drawing along with me. If you did, or if you just watched, I hope you had a good hour experience with us here on Gettin Sketchy.
Yeah, it looks really great.
Thank you.
I like the color choices you made there, getting some of those blues in the shadows and kind of getting some color in those neutrals in the core.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's see. Jan says, lovely drawing. Ashley, yummy. Enrique says, great drawing. Ashley.
Thank you so much.
All right. Jay Blake says, very nice. Hoot and Holler says, really nice. Shell Bell says, hope you both have a nice Thanksgiving. Well, thank you. I hope you do too if you're here in the United States. If you're not, I hope you have a nice Thursday next week. Buddy reminds everybody, don't forget to like and comment if you like. That's very true.
That's right.
Don't like it if you don't like it.
Then like and comment.
Teresa says, looks great. Aaron says, great drawing. Thanks. Keith says, very nice piece. I before E of work. Very good. Thank you for pointing. And I before E, except after C. That's before C, so that follows the rule.
Follows the rules.
Thomas says, thank you so much for the demonstration. Wonderful. Jen says, love it. And this was very fun to draw. Lisa says, thanks.
Good.
And Cindy says, the apple looks great.
I agree. Good enough to eat.
It does look very
again.
good. All right. Well, I think that's it. We got to get ready for the next show where I'll be drawing with pastels. All the talk about pastels.
That's right.
And I'm doing
pastel.
the dog. And we're almost to the end of that series. That is for members at thevirtualinstructor.com. So if you want to join us for the next hour, you can do that right now. Just click on the link in the description below this video, and it will take you right there. All right. Let's go ahead and switch over.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys, we learned about apples tonight. We learned that they have cyanide in them. We learned that you can get a lot of color in your neutral areas, especially with colored medium like colored pencils where we can layer colors. And Ashley showed us how to use the colorless blender there too and how it changes the color. So lots of little tidbits of information tonight. And the final result was nice as well with a limited color palette. Ashley, do you have anything to add?
I'll miss you guys next week, and so it'll be 2 weeks till we come back, and maybe we'll have some stories to tell. I'll tell some, you tell some, and I'm sure Matt will have a story to tell for us in 2 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen to Matt in the next 2 weeks?
let's hope Matt doesn't have any stories.
A nice, boring 2
Just
weeks. That would
when
be
you
great.
guys are, and if you're in the United States, obviously, if you're enjoying your turkey next week on Thursday evening, just think of me. Just have one little thought of me and what I may be experiencing at that moment.
Family time.
Yeah. All right. So there's your reminder. Next week, we will not have Getting Sketchy or the live lesson for members, but we'll pick up the week after that. So if you are on our mailing list, email mailing list, I will send out a reminder that when we come back, I won't send out a reminder saying, hey, no live lessons this week, but I will send a reminder the week after that. If you want to be on our mailing list and get a ton of free art lessons, there is a link in the description below for that. That way I can send you an email when we do stuff like this and when new videos are posted as well. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving in your country, then every day should really be a day that we celebrate Thanksgiving.
That's
we have so
right.
much to be thankful for. Even when life is at its bleakest moment and everything looks really dark, there's still things to find to be thankful for.
We're shaped by our adversity.
And those things that we're thankful for often pull us out of those pits of despair that we can sometimes go into. So be thankful every day. Ashley, you have anything else for the folks?
I don't believe so. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. Eat lots of turkey. Put gravy on everything. It's not just for turkey. You can put it on corn. Gravy goes on everything.
Yep. Not true. Although I love gravy. Gravy on cereal. Delicious.
Tasty.
Gravy on a candy bar.
Gravy on ice cream.
Gravy on ice cream. Yeah, it gets that hot and cold mix. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might not actually be too bad.
It probably would
Probably
be
would-
fantastic.
might not be that
Were
great-
people
bad.
putting bacon strips in ice cream there for a while?
Yeah, well, it's salty.
Well, so is
salty.
gravy. So is gravy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, enough of that talk. We will see you next week. No, we won't. We will see you in 2 weeks.
That's right.
All right. Good night, everybody.